my life is a whole series of projects, and it's not that one project starts and the next stops. There are some which are running concurrently. That was the first lesson in marketing for me, is that we don't always go on waiting for opportunities. Create them, knock down the door, and take charge. In business, it's all about solving pain problems or pain areas. People come to you with their money and their challenges is because they believe that you are an expert in that subject and that you can solve their problem. Only urgency creates action. Otherwise, people are procrastinating.
Welcome to TYCOONS on Insightful, a series where we talk with brand custodians of some of the most popular and some of the oldest companies of our country who have shaped the foundations of our economy and also brought progress to our country. I have someone very special with me, someone who we have been interacting for the last 2 episodes. It's the 3rd episode now. I have with me Dr. Vivek Mendonsa.
Hello.
Such a real pleasure to have you, sir. And on record, off record, every conversation with you is so much enlightening and also entertaining at the same time. You always have so much insight and wisdom to provide, and I think it's a fitting conversation with Insightful today.
Sure, looking forward. Thank you.
So, you are an entrepreneur. You are running a legacy brand. You are a brand custodian. You are the director of marketing. But what are you without all these titles? Who is Dr. Vivek Mendonsa? That is something I've been curious to know.
Sure. So I'm a very simple and straightforward person, and the values my parents have brought up. We have 4 siblings, me and 3 more siblings, Michelle, Jean, Suzanne, and myself. My father, Robert Henry George Mendonsa, touchwood, he's 93, and my mom is 92, and we all stay in a joint family together. So I think upbringing has been always very simple. It's been definitely privileged, and I grew up living in a bungalow in Kafpret, where Tarporala mansion, and living in a 5,500 square feet house with a 2,000 square feet living room or hall itself was a privilege. But I didn't have any really friends, and the only friends which I really had were the servant quarter or domestic servants' children. And so be it marbles or gulli danda or chor police. And I want to recollect one incident where I was playing in my porch. We had a lovely porch with white and marble and black interrupted with black design, and playing football. And for us, the goal posts were just 2 pairs of shoes on either side. And my mom commented, she says that, why you're not wearing your tennis shoes? And I told her, look, the other children don't have tennis shoes, so I may hurt their feet. So at the age of 6 or 7, these were my thinking, unaided thinking, where I was already conscious that they didn't have many of the things I had. And I would also dress very simply. I shared all my toys with them. For us, during March, April and May, climbing up a mango tree and having the keri things and cutting it, and with a little mirchi buki and salt, that was our the most joys. So I think today's children have got their own toys, gizmos and gadgets, and I don't say anything is better or superior. The only thing which is constant in life is change. So you have to constantly change. So coming back to my childhood, my first friend was Xerxes Baria. He lived in another building which is like a bungalow on the first floor. And only by coincidence I was passing by, and him and his mom were standing in the balcony and shouted my name. And slowly, that I was already 6 or 7. So till then I didn't have any friends, and my sister and their friends were my friends.
Why did you feel you didn't have any friends?
Staying in such a large house, and I already had those servants' children who were my friends. So there was no loneliness. And a lot of time was spent even in reading, listening to, there's always music in my house, and those children had their own, for them, a lot of activity, a lot of sports. And our Chor Police was 3 and 4 kilometers, and big groups, 25, 30 kids at a time. So there's a lot of running around, a lot of exercise and things like that. But it was beautiful, and I went to a great school like Campion School, a Jesuit education, and I still recollect the day my parents came, and there were so many other parents, and we were called according to the appointment to interview time. And we had to land up, and they had beautiful showcases of animals and fish kept. So as a young age, I already knew that this was a great institution, Campion School, run by Jesuits, and that they were able to preserve all these animals.
Yeah.
So, small childhood conversations which you have with yourself, with your mind. And I said, wow, they had a showcase. And with the fact that they put it a showcase, they were trying to tell the parents and especially the children that these are some of the animals you're going to be learning about and seeing.
Right.
And that automatically created curiosity. And the main, I think we had 3 houses in Campion School. One was Brito, which was a red house. We had Xavier's, which was a blue house.
Yeah.
And we had White House, which was Loyola, named after 3 saints which are there, and the slogan of our house was, Xavier House, Blue House, was never give in. And something which whenever I'm a little sad or low, and I remind myself, when you face a lot of obstacles on several projects, you never give in. You have to, put in your best, and it's basically the effort and things. Sometimes you can't control the results. You have to just accept the results. And I believe my life is a whole series of projects, and it's not that one project starts and the next stops. There are some which are running concurrently, 4 or 5 projects simultaneously, and each at a different speed and pace. And sometimes you have to put a few projects on standby or on hold, and then push the.
So what was your project when you were a teen?
So I think we went through all those phases of stamps and coin collection, but my really greatest passion at that age was dinky cars. And fortunately, a large, massive cupboard made of Burma teak wood with glass on all the sides. It had 2 levels. I could put a thermocol sheet, and every being the youngest after 3 sisters and having a lot of loving parents and aunts and uncles.
Was it a joint family?
Not exactly, but we were 6 of us already living together.
Okay.
And would always buy some more dinky cars. So it was not just one car at a time. I would get 2, 3, and each birthday. So I must have reached at least not less than 60 or 65 cars, and arranging them based on their functionality. Some had their doors open. I got a very rare chitty bang, where it had a side gear and the wings could open, and it looked like an antique piece. So that was itself beautiful. So having that, arranging it, and I think spending a lot of time talking to myself and to the other around, and I knew the arrangement of my cars by heart, which was kept where, and I had own explanation and thinking on it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Were you the youngest of the siblings?
Yeah, I was the youngest after 3 girls, yes.
How was that experience?
I think they have all been very doubtful and looked after me. I would not say pampered, but I know when my sisters went abroad, they got me so many gifts at that time in India, getting, good quality soaps and, for boys, vests and underwear, or using a brand like St. Michael's or Marks and Spencer. It was not the in thing, but it was just a little bit better quality. And I think they bought more things from me than they bought from themselves. So it's a very well-knit and close family.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you come from a family of entrepreneurs, business and responsibilities handed down from one generation to other.
Right.
How was the dinner table conversation? I'm very curious because, when someone who is not from an entrepreneurial background, they enter into a business, the mindset is different, the thoughts are different, the perception to the world is different. How was it for you, and conversations which used to happen at home?
So I think my grandfather expired in 1973, and my father was approximately about 33 years old. So he being the eldest, and then he's got 3 other siblings younger to him. So he actually did his BSc in physics from St. Xavier's, Calcutta. He traveled abroad for his internship, so he knew the value of internship.
Yeah.
Working in other companies, he always had a toolkit bag. He's been into vacuum technology. So he invited a lot of guests from abroad. We collaborated with a lot of companies. So at least twice or thrice a year, we would have an international guest coming over to our house for dinner. How the table mat would be set, the menu would be planned, the food, knowing their likes, dislikes, listening to Western conversations, knowing that, we are just not in Bombay and in India, knowing people coming from other parts of the world. We would even look up our atlas, which at that time there was no internet. So we would go to it and say, okay, this gentleman has come from this place. And sometimes they would bring their wife or their young children, then taking them to see Ban Ganga or Haji Ali or Crawford Market or some things which would be unique, then giving them Indian food, explaining to them what is naan and the difference between a naan and a tandoori roti and Indian dishes. So that was it. But during college, my father did something very, I think, different and interesting. He told me not to come to the office.
Okay.
So that was quite a surprise, because a lot of my friends were already started going to their papa's office or something. So he said, I want you to completely enjoy your collegehood. And I was in Sydenham College, and I basically participated in all the extracurricular activities. I started working with Mulkaraj Anand also. And that's the time I took up 2 or 3 projects simultaneously. I started a youth wing of the Kulaba Cuff Parade Citizens Group after my mentor, Dr. P. Naveen Kumar. And that is the age of 17. So 17 till 21, 22 years of age, I ran it. And we had about 60 youth coming over every Friday for a meeting to my large house. And my mom would make sure that we had some rasna, cold drink prepared, and some sandwiches. And because of Dr. Mulkraj Anand's connection, we could get some amazing speakers come and address. So the parents of these 25, 30, up to 60 youth were amazed that at a young age, we could get such speakers come and sit with us for 1.5 hour talk on a variety of subjects. So our entire canvas really opened up, and things like that. Then I worked also very closely.
What were your observations with interaction with these people? Did it shape your personality?
Yes, 100%. So everyone was from a very different field. We had people from art, music, literature, social activists. I have worked with people like Meda Patkar, who was involved in the Narmada Bachao Andolan, Bittu Segal, Sarosh Framrose. We went to BNHS, Bombay National Historical Society. Even Salim, who's the founder of BNHS, and there's a choke, Salim Chok, outside Lionsgate there. He was an ace bird watcher and photographer. So such great people we actually met and interacted with. We never knew at that time because now I'm talking about it about 35, 40 years later. So those all interactions that in life you can't just have one interest. So I was telling you, of course, you're obsessed about your business, but for me, a thali has to have 5 katoris, right? A really good luxury thali. And that is a variety of, because you get ideas from so many places and so many people.
That's true. Yes.
Let me also take you back to Dr. Naveen Kumar once called me, and he told me the sheriff of Mumbai, Nana Chudasaman, has wanted some youth to help him in some program. So I went and met Nana at his Churchgate office above Talk of the Town. And he had a beautiful office, extremely well read, well dressed, with a tie and I think a white shirt. And he told me, he spoke very highly of Dr. Naveen Kumar. They must have had a lot of mutual admiration. And he says, Vivek, I want about 6 or 7 youth who will help me in a program, Mumbai Maji Latki program, which I'm going to do in about 4 or 5 venues in Mumbai too. Mumbai Maji Latki in Marathi means I love Mumbai. I can do anything for Mumbai. And it has got a very deep meaning that I will keep Mumbai clean.
Yeah.
I'll keep Mumbai beautiful. I'll not litter. I'll be considerate to my fellow travelers by train, by the BST bus. And at that time we had Mumbai was beginning to become more cosmopolitan. Right, so we had a lot of the Pasi dairy bhaiyas were from Uttar Pradesh. We had already influx of South Indians coming in from Tamil Nadu and other states. Not so many Biharis at that time. And he challenged me, Nana Chudasaman, that can you bring, I will require for such a big program where we are dealing with about 2 lakh, 3 lakh people, can you bring in about 200 volunteers? So I said, definitely we'll try, sir. And I was General Secretary of the Social Service League in Sydenham College. And the first time I brought 7, he was delighted. And then he said, can you make it 200? And I said, yes, I'll make it 200. And the day of the program, when he addressed us and wished us all the good luck, of course he had to rush. There were no mobiles in that era, and he had to rush to the main chupati where he was addressing the crowd. And he had a beautiful concept besides of planting, creating a nursery outside Grand Medical College where people could buy plants. He would get the entire South Bombay whitewashed.
Okay.
And his ability to get sponsors and his good and genuine work. His banner. Today, if you think of Nana Chudasaman, of course, his daughter is Bashaina NC.
Yes.
And besides being a fashion designer and a fashionista, she's carved herself very well politically.
Yes.
But actually, you see like R.K. Lakshman, Bhal Thakre ji and all these great people, some object created their identity, right? And the object for Nana Chudasaman were his banners. Every week, 52 times in a year to come out with something tongue-in-cheek, witty.
Yes.
And the banners would change. Of course, the banners still continue. They have moved slightly from one corner to the another corner.
Where can we see this today?
At Sonawala building on Marine Drive. And in fact, his banners were put up also outside the residency club in Pune. And many other cities started requesting for them. So that built.
Can you share some of the, if you recollect some of the slogans?
They were very topical for that particular week. It was tongue-in-cheek. It was bold. It didn't bother. It was really freedom of speech, freedom of thought. It could be political. It could have been, it was what the Amul hoardings are to India. Was Nana Chudasaman's personal contribution to comment, as we say in Marathi, tipni karna.
Yes.
He had an opinion what was the state of politics at that time. And indirectly, no politician wanted to be negative. He was not only write negative things, tongue-in-cheek, but also positive things about people and situations. Yeah. So no politician who would be featured on that would wanted to be written negatively about.
Yes.
So indirectly, the pen is mightier than the sword. We all know that and believe that. Nana Chudasaman rose with his banners, his cloth banners. And I don't think he ever used flex because that may have not been environmentally friendly, and he was against plastic. And he did a lot of campaigns and everything like that. He and I and Kunti Oza, in fact, we launched the first thrash bags in Mumbai. So I've been an entrepreneur right from the age of 17.
Wow.
Where small, medium, large, extra large bags made of HDP, LDP and supplying to Bombay Gymkhana, Sunita Building, Cuff Parade, Palm Springs, Mayor Dad, all these buildings.
Yes.
So the lady who placed the order, I had one, at that time the digits were only 5 digits in a in a landline, then they became 6, now they become 8. So she was quite amazed that she called up after receiving some flyer or pamphlet, and that after 20 minutes it was me only who delivered it. So not only I took the orders on the landline phone, but I went across and delivered it. So I was doing college at that time. I was working after college hours with Dr. Mulkaraj Anand. I was running the youth wing of the Kulaba Cuff Parade Citizens Group as the president of the youth wing. We did blood donation programs with Sydenham College. We did Ganpati Visarjan again with Sydenham and Kulaba Cuff Parade Citizens Group. So I think from the minute we woke up at 6:37 in the morning till about 10:30, 11 in the night was jam-packed. And then there were the occasional parties which we used to organize, collecting money and everything like that. In fact, I must share with you a very interesting, group of friends had a party on top of one of the buildings. I can't recollect whether it was Basant or one of the buildings still standing tall in Cuff Parade. Sunflower or Sunita, one of the buildings.
Okay.
And we all must have chipped in about 40 rupees or 50 rupees. And we were about, say, 20 boys. And then we called about 8-10 girls also, because you can't have a jam session without girls there. And we had a beautiful music, and it was not very loud, and it didn't have this 10 o'clock deadline, and everyone was sensible.
Do you think people were much more open at that time than?
Yes, they were definitely much more open. We didn't, we were all young, we were all 16, 17. We managed to go to a wine shop and buy some beer bottles also and take it to the top of the terrace. And I think we all knew our limit. We just put some simple lights and didn't spend so much money on the strobes and psychedelic lights and all that. And there was a lovely, very pretty looking girl with long hair. Later Kaushalya was her name, and she was a Rajasthani girl. And I was watching her dance, and 2-3 of my friends, I said I should go and dance with that particular girl. And they said, no, have you seen your face? She won't dance with you and all. And she's already got a dance partner. And I kept looking at her. And when the music was slowing down and I felt the next song was starting, I tapped the boy she was dancing with, and he knew me, obviously. I can't recollect who it was. And the first thing that girl told me is, you've been staring at me for 10 minutes. Why did you wait so long? So that was the first lesson in marketing for me, is that we don't always go on waiting for opportunities. Create them, knock at them, knock down the door, and take charge. So that's very important. Another thing which I did was my girlfriend Suhani, who continues to be my girlfriend now and became my life partner. So she was doing some summer job, and whenever I would call her up, she would say cello. So I said, what this is nonsense, the cello and all. So the cello had launched a thermoware, and they said, whoever you say cello to and asks and talks about it, you can send them one gift and then they can buy some more. So those were the days of landline marketing, not your WhatsApp marketing. So I said, how much are you earning? So she told me $200 or more per month. So I said, that was huge, because my pocket money was 200 or 150 rupees. So I said, I also want to do it. And she took me to this place in Fort, next to Metro Cinema. And there's a building, I don't know if it's called, I think it's Kutch Castle, or there's some other building. And they had Sameer over there. Sameer was not a human being. It was the name of a company owned by an advertising agency of Mudra. So Sameer stood for Scientific Analysis of Market Information Research. So in the first few weeks, I learned, and we were put on multiple projects. We had to go to people's houses, offices, and fill up these forms. And we were paid 2 rupees 50 paisa, 6 rupees, 8 rupees. And the target was minimum 10 forms, 12 forms. Sometimes there was pressure. We had to finish even 20, 25 forms. And then I noticed that everyone, was sitting at home or using a landline. and calling up their friends, relatives, and there was a lot of faking of the forms happening.
Okay.
And being very authentic and a hard worker. I felt that was not the correct thing. So I would actually go and do the hard work myself, meet people, catch people, and sometimes we were given a list also and do it very authentically. And so I started doing something very different. I started taking the forms, and if it was a company, I would get the rubber stamp of the company at the back on the last page.
Okay.
And if it was some businessman, there were very few business women in those days between 1987 to 92. I would attach their visiting card over there. So then I told my supervisor and then manager that look at my form. So he thought I was trying to impress him with my handwriting. So he just keep it there. I'll talk to you later. So again, I went after an hour. He got irritated. And the third time I went, he realized there's something I'm trying to connect. So he made me sit down and went through my forms. And I said, see, every of my form has got a rubber stamp of the company I have supposed to go and visit at the back. And it has got a visiting card. So there are 2 points of check. And then I was made the team leader, and all the people who were faking the forms, they were, because I knew all the tricks by then in the first 2 weeks, and then I put a strict control on them also. So, being even at that young age, no parent to guide you, already honesty, integrity was put into me. And I was a team member on a daily wage salary. So people were trying to see how much money they could make, how much they could save and go for a movie or for an ice cream and other things.
And all these things while you are also studying.
Yes, that's right. Studies for us was really easy and a good cakewalk. The papers were not too tough. Of course, we went always for some classes and tuitions. But 2-3 weeks before the exam, we would totally put blinkers on our eyes, look at our books. I think more than a month before we would start, everyone would share each other with notes. There would be some who would attend all the lectures. So their notes were very coveted, and then get a photocopy. But our attendance was good. So it was not that. So we were absorbing during regular hours. And if you had some extracurricular activity, you had to get a note. From that society. We used to have societies in Sydenham College.
Right.
And you had to get a note and sign and show it to the teacher. Then you could bunk a lecture. But we were very, I think, sincere, because either you were in the college attending the lectures, or you were in the canteen, right? And then the exams would come pretty, we also had midterm and terminal exams, so that made sure, not like the students of today till the 8th standard, they've got no exams. So that pressure was there. But we achieved a lot I think between those 5 years. What all I could not do achieve in school. In school, it was mainly focused on academics and a little bit of football. Here we had a really overall personality.
What do you think? What has changed now?
I think whatever changes, we have to accept it. It is not whether my childhood was better than the childhood. I think the children are having fun on their own. Maybe they don't have so many friends. Their peer groups is very, 5 or 7 people or 10 people. That's it. When we went to college, we were about 4 divisions. Each division had 150 students. So we were in the first year of college, 600. So it was a huge, and with at least 65-70% attending, the college was packed. There were so many activities. In fact, I was sharing with someone recently. I have met Udit Narayan, who had the break of QSQT song, Papa Kehte Hain, Bada Naam Karega. So, meeting him in person. Today, his son is doing also exceedingly well. But stars at that time he was up and coming. But they didn't charge a huge fancy fee. If a good college called them, they would come, and their humbleness. Let me take you back to a story after I started working and everything. It may have been about 10 or 12 years into working, or 15 years into working, once passing a Ganpati Mandal, and I looked and saw it was Nanachuda Sama standing there, in his blue blazer and neatly dressed, and his salt and pepper hair. So I got out of the car to greet him because I had spent some time. And I said, Nana, you're here at such a small Ganesh Pandal. So he says, no, Vivek, they called me. So I invited, I took the invitation up. So look at, though he was not the sheriff of Mumbai, he continued to play his role in public life. And didn't, the judging was not there.
Yeah.
An invitation or a nimantran was seen as a nimantran, and that you had to land up. Let me also tell you go back to the Mumbai Maji Latki. So it was a grand success. We had Chopati, there were at least 3 or 4 venues, Grand Medical College, the main Marine Drive, then the tip of Marine Drive, and different activities. And we had some great artists performing. So, he didn't want to call Mumbaikars and give them a bhashan on cleanliness and all that. He says, if you are having fun, there was a great ideology in what he did, Mumbai Maji Ladki. If you are having fun, if your Bhojpuri artist or your singer or someone is there performing and he organizes, you don't have to buy any tickets. So it was free for Mumbaikars. 5 venues, 5 different venues, 5 different genres, 5 different themes. And it was only for the public. It was not this MIP, VIP and all these things and caste discrimination which we have. Only if you have money you can go to the venue. And automatically then messages were about planting more trees. Today his daughter is doing this massive yoga day. Yeah. It is all inspiration from Nana only. So after this event took place, he called me to this office. No mobiles. So there was a landline message and then I landed up. He says, Vivek, I want the names of all those 200 people. So I took a full scap and whatever I could remember, 65, 70, 80, I wrote and took help of other friends and filled it. You won't believe it. A certificate was given to each of every of those 200 students. Then he called us after a few weeks to CCI, Cricket Club of India, East Lawns. And he had a banquet. And I thought a lot of other dignitaries and municipal people and of course they were there also, police. But he gave for hostelites who were studying in cinema and several other colleges to get a 3-course or a 4-course meal which started with tomato soup or some soup and 3-course of meal unlimited to eat was the greatest joy. And mind you, CCI East Lawn was also the place where Nani Palkiwala gave his speeches on the budget, and even Dhirubhai Ambani also gave his speeches. So it was a very coveted venue.
Iconic venue.
Yes, exactly. So, Nana just didn't utilize us as young kids, like young energy, hands and legs. But we human beings had a value for him. And he managed his sponsorship and finances so well that, no one could say no. He, I think, went out of his way to serve the people.
If there were 3 things that you might have taken from him, what would they be?
I think he always dressed well, very well articulate his thoughts, and he was a visionary. He said Mumbai gave him so much, and even today Marine Drive has got the best architecture, the Art Deco buildings, all buildings the same height. So because he was such a tall figure, his daughter is again serving the society, and she's also multitasking between a fashion person. She used to have a fashion studio at Kalagoda and the political career. Nana was not into politics. Sheriff's post is apolitical. It is a nomination or you're asked to be that. But whereas his daughter has realized the power of being in a part of leadership and being there and helping people out and serving them. That's right. So you can, with that you can see, Rohan, that I've got had a full childhood, and then 1992 I shifted to Pune, where a simple pamphlet had came from Dhyan Prudhni to do a diploma in optometry. And my brother-in-law and sister, Mr. Vivek Nandurkar and Michelle Nandurkar, suggested that I do this course. So I did 1 year of...
Was it necessary because you were already on the business side of things? So
No, it is better to have a technical aspect and a complete understanding. And optics is a very large field. It is just not arrangement of lenses. And what I liked about this course, it was very practical. So we did a lot of eye camps and everything. And I started living on my own at the age of 22 in a flat which is now owned by my sister but bought by my father. So I think that is also one message to the youth, is that parents should allow their youth to move out of their comfort zone, out of their the environment in which they are comfortable with, and go out. I'm very glad my son Krish now at the age of 24 has moved to Pune coincidentally, and he's 24 and living with a few friends and living on his own, because that makes you really independent.
Yes.
You have to manage your pocket money, your allowances, take care of your clothes. Plus I was studying. Then I went to nearly night college there at Symbiosis. So I didn't join a day program and do Aram. But I worked in Lawrence Mayo from 10 o'clock to about 5:30. Freshened up, rushed to college. 6:30 to 9:30 was college at Symbiosis at Senapati Bapat Road. And then next day was again eat, sleep and repeat, as they say. So, and study, of course.
Yes.
Yes. So some people like to do fewer activities. Maybe I always tell them that in school, how many subjects you had? You had English literature, English language, Marathi, Hindi, physics, chemistry, biology, history, geography, environmental studies, physical, training of things. So there were about 10 or 11 subjects. So why do people find the ability to multitask now so challenging? I talk to a lot of people from different backgrounds and says, no, I can do only one task at a time and I want to give my whole and soul to it. But sometimes that task itself slows down or that project slows down. Then what do? So, but when you have multiple projects, then you just, it's like the bridge coin. So you keep pushing them forward and making progress.
Absolutely. And it also expands our worldview. I recollect that our previous generations and our much previous generations, they were so much qualified. They didn't have a lot of resources like we have today, but they knew everything.
True.
Whether it is astronomy, whether it is mathematics, science, medication, politics. It was such a well-rounded ecosystem.
Absolutely. I think if you go back now to Mulkraj Anand, every evening was a sabha in his house, where he would sit in his khaki clothes or his shorts and unique kurtas and lovely fountain pens with a nice leather case in that. He had his own style quotient, what we today call style quotient, his own identity. And the number of people who would come, there was no question of taking an appointment. Whatever greater the personality, they would always accommodate you, right? And you could always ring up. So many budding authors came. I have met Shubha Day in the Sabha of Mulkraj Anand, where she gave her manuscript and asked Mulkraj Anand ji to comment on it and to guide her whether she was on the right track, because she started writing as a journalist in Stardust. So many budding authors came, and again that was Guru Shikshak mentality. Today I think the Shikshaks have so many choice of mentors, they don't know even how to choose a mentor or what should we do. So there's a lot of, I think, shyness, barriers and thinking. The innocence is going away. Innocence is going away. Earlier in life, if we wanted something, हम लोग हिचक के बोलते थे. We used to just ask. And our mentors were so good, they would give their time, effort. I've known as so many mentees staying in their mentors' houses. My first interaction with Mulkraj Anand was, I must have started working at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the evening. And being his neighbor and being the neighbor's child, I was the last to leave. All the other people by 7:15, 7:30 had left. And his legs had swollen up and he asked me to remove his sandal. Now, if he didn't feel comfortable about it, he would not have asked me. But he felt that yes, he's a young boy, his back is not going to ache like mine. And I spent 7-8 minutes removing one of his sandals because his leg had swollen up because of old age and walking so much and stuff. And I don't know if today's children would even do that. They may feel it's below their dignity. But for a mentor, when a mentee feels that a mentor is giving them so much, being the same room, atmosphere. Mulk Raj Anand had books in his toilet also. So you could only see the flush tank and the commode, and the rest was covered with books everywhere. And that is itself is created a habit. Whenever I want to read, I pick up something. So you're not even wasting your time when doing your toilet chores. Some input is there. Right? Even today, before we started the interview, I've reached out to Sudha Murthy's book and read something, because that is like an essence of oxygen. It's always giving you some ideas, some thoughts, something. Your mind should be always having some effervescence. Of course, of late now I've been reading about, and it's a new mentor who I've just got to know in the last 2-3 days about the power of meditation. So keeping your mind silent. And increasing the gap between one thought to another. And can you make it from 2 minutes or 3 minutes or few seconds? Can you make it as wide as 10 minutes? The gap between one thought to another. So you meet different people, and often in these networking events which we see, in college, we never in any play, be it an English play or a Marathi or a Gujarati play or some drama, we never had only our batchmates. There could have been someone from senior college, there could be a fresher. It was mixed. So nowadays I feel is that youngsters are not able to talk to a 45 or a 60-year-old gentleman or a woman who says, what will I talk to them? They can't understand my app world, and I can't have a conversation. So the breadth of our ability to talk to a small child, sit on a floor, have a conversation, come out with some nursery rhyme, some poetry, some song which would make that child happy, to talking to a senior citizen above the age of 65 or 70 or 80 years of age. So that breadth of talking, having the
generational gap.
Yes, generational gap. Now the generational gap is every 3 years. It was earlier a decade.
Yes.
If if I was born in 1970, I would find it challenging to talk to someone in 1980, but it was possible. But now it has come to 3 years. From 10 years, we have shrunk to 3 years because of the fast pace of technology.
Absolutely. Then how did the world change for you after Pune?
No, I don't think we have to change with the world. It is not every day you have to be a better version of yourself, right? So it is constantly surveying, looking around what is there. In business, it's all about solving pain problems or pain areas. People come to you with their money and their challenges is because they believe that you are an expert in that subject and that you can solve their problem. So that is that is why if you're not solving a pain area, no one is going to leave their home and office and come and meet you. Or whether today in quick commerce, everyone is giving you service at your doorstep.
10 minutes.
Yeah, in 10 minutes flat. I think there is a little going over the top. How many youth are basically endangering their lives by working in the gig economy and to come and give these deliveries, driving rashly on these battery operated bikes. So I think we are going too extreme. And why can't you really plan your life better? What is so urgent that you need some household products or a packet of cigarettes, or could be
these cameras
else.
Are being delivered in 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we are going over the top, and then I've seen the world come back to its circular form number of times. Take for example, I'll give you an example of the safari suit. The safari suit is an industrialist in the 1970s or 80s till the 90s, beginnings of 1992, 93. any industrialist wanted, including Rahul Bajaj, wanted to impress his viewers on television or meet a politician or leader, he would go in a safari suit. And it could have been a cream, or it could be a white, or it could be a navy blue, or a darkish color, or grey.
Yes.
And if you wore a safari suit for a wedding, it was good enough. It was very well dressed. And the way it was stitched, all the tailors, I think, throughout India went. Today, the safari suit is being worn as by a security guard, or to a politician, or an actor, or by a bouncer.
Yeah. It's making a comeback, though. I've seen a couple of
versions of it.
Yes,
so I've seen some, you're right, some loose jackets with multiple pockets which are there. It's the top of the safari suit.
The Gurkha trousers and all are also making a comeback.
It's all coming back. So life is a circle, So what is up today will go down one day, and what is down today will come up one day. It's just a cycle and stuff like that. Right.
Yes. Something that I've observed is from our conversation in the past 30 minutes or so, what I observed is at that time people were very much open. People were willing to take a lot of chances, wanted a well-rounded life which revolved around a lot of things, imbibing things, appreciating people's efforts, and also taking chances. Something that we are doing today, our generation is doing it, but somehow it has been in a one direction. Also, it feels like a very scary future because there are so many things happening at the same time. What is your thought about that?
So, the internet definitely changed the world. And earlier, where was our source? Our source was encyclopedias, which has become an outdated word. It's become Wikipedia today.
Yeah.
Right? And even the ability to open an encyclopedia and find a piece of information in a quick commerce way, that it showed your ability and intelligence.
Yeah.
We had a lot of quizzes also. Recently we were talking about Mr. Siddharth Basu, who started the quiz movement in our country. And the way he grew it, I had an opportunity to meet him in person just 2 months ago. So those quizzing programs, be it the Bonvita quiz and so many other quizzes which started, they basically made people read and go beyond the curriculum. And today the youngsters who are going, you have seen the series of Kota Factory on Netflix.
Yes.
The obsession to get a UPS or IS officer is, I think everything is turned towards money making. And unfortunately, many of the youth don't have the fortune which I've had. I have met so many people who have made tons and tons of money, and who have had very personal conversations with me. And they said, Vivek, money doesn't give you that joy, happiness and charm. When you have solved a problem, when you have solved a challenge which is not your family problem or your individual problem. Take example, the founder of Sulabh Sauchale. He passed away some time ago, but he has created thousands and thousands of public toilets throughout the country. Maybe the last I read about it must have been over a few lakhs of toilets, which is there. But it was his own personal idea, which he put it forward to the government, and the government backed him. And there are some new apps now which are helping you to find, loose public toilets and loose and clean toilets. So we are using technology towards that. I think I also pity the youth today, Rohan, is that there is too much of choice and too much of clutter. So when there is noise, I want to give you a beautiful example. We have got this backdrop of this black cloth, right? So I'm not searching for any white dot on it right now. So in the same way, if I go to Saswat at this time of the year, I will do a detox and go to Saswat, and there's a beautiful lake there. Right, and I've got a small tree house, part of Hidden Oasis, where I go and spend some time and take 2-3 good books, and I manage to read a lot. It's like a little bit of forest bathing. Now, if there are no children who come by over those 2-3 days, very rarely, and if they come, I always talk to them and talk to strangers. If pebbles are being thrown, then I can't see my reflection. But if there are no pebbles being thrown, I can see my reflection
in
water.
silence, in isolation.
In silence. So you are but you can't switch off this fear of missing out, this FOMO, and these many other things. I tell the youth, have a digital detox.
Yeah.
Spend time with your grandparents and parents. Hug them. Something which I've learned from North India is that they very easily on their convocation day or some great day in school or college, they bend down and they touch their professor's feet, or they touch their elders' feet, their grandparents, chacha, chachi, mama, mami, and all those things like that. So that itself creates a bond.
Yeah.
Here I see so many kids, when they leave home, they just even wave out. And they're going, their parents, grandparents have no idea where they're going, what they're things, and that is increasing the age gap. Why not sit down and explain to your parents what is artificial intelligence, what is machine learning, what is all about this craze, what is chat GPT, and explain to them. And I'm sure they will come out with a interesting, conversation. They'll ask some innocent questions. And by simplifying technology and saying it in a few articulate words will make you basically very humble and democratic.
Yeah.
I gave this idea once to Ajit Joshi, who was CEO of Chroma. Because I observed whenever I go retail shopping, I think retail therapy is great. And I told Mr. Joshi, I said, your people are very good in Chroma. But the way they sell a mobile phone to a senior citizen, they teach them only 3 things. How to switch on the phone, how to switch it off, how to take a picture and send a WhatsApp. 4 things, that's it. But if someone who's a phone geek, would, because why is a senior citizen buying a phone? He is wanting to communicate with his grandchildren or with his children who could be abroad or in a different city. And it's a necessity today. And if you had a phone geek, not a salesperson of Reliance or Chroma doing it, who would explain few features, make some notes and write it and give it to the senior citizen, that person's life would be much easier.
Absolutely. So when my grandfather, he came to our house, I introduced him to Google Maps.
Okay, wow.
So he felt that it's so easy. Why didn't I try it before?
Yes, exactly.
And now he's going everywhere on his own with the Google Maps.
Right.
Something as simple as that.
Absolutely. So it's basically, if technology is leaving somebody out, is not democratic, is not inclusive, then it's no use technology. It is only for the chosen few or the classy few, right? Whereas when technology gets democratized, Dhirubhai Ambani's statement, har muthi mein kar lo ek mobile phone, or every human being should own one. It should not be expensive. It should be cheaper than a telegram. Only a visionary could talk like that. Right? Even our Honorable Prime Minister saying that a second-class train fare and air ticket should be the same, because I have so many house help and my office boys in Lawrence Mayo, when they travel to their villages, 2 days just goes on travel. And I said, okay, this person's really worked hard, has got enough money, let me help him book a ticket online and go by air. That whole experience is a different thing. So it's like medicine. Medicine should not only be for the elite or the people who can pay for it. Medicine in our municipal hospitals, giving the best care and facilities to everyone, whether they can afford or cannot afford, is definitely a very important factor.
Yeah. One of the key things that you are doing by profession is you are the director of marketing of Lawrence and Mayo. But as a marketer, our role is to create demand and create an awareness. So what have been some of your key learnings from this, and whether it is your college days or whether you're doing it on a professional level now, what have been some of your learnings on that, and to create a sense of urgency, some tactics or some things that you have absorbed in your lifetime? So
in every human being throughout the world, because I have traveled a lot, I always observe there is, I would say, there is, they put off decisions of purchase, decisions of attending things to it. If there were no exams, students would not study. If there was no 31st July, people would not file their advance tax. So only urgency creates action. Otherwise, people are procrastinating. Because of various factors, because of confusion, laziness, the guilt of spending money, all those things like that. In our, we have got multiple business, engineering, equipment and opticals, as I have talked about in the earlier episodes. So I think providing, we do a lot of eye camps in corporates, in factories, in industrial units, in schools. So when you bring people to the doorstep, even over there they are thinking and contemplating. So giving them a surety. We are a genuine company, we are 147 years young and we care for you, and we are not here to take money from you or cut your pocket, and we are very genuine. And after buying a product or service from Lawrence Mayo, you can enjoy after sales service and just give us a call and we'll be there. So that surety is definitely very important. Today, a lot of the e-commerce companies, you try and talk to Uber customer care person, you can't ever reach anyone. They don't even have one. These people are running with skeleton staff of hardly maybe 15 or 20 people. You have to talk to them through an app. Some of the questions of the FAQs on an app are so silly. Let me tell you about recently one of my phones got hacked or got some fair account. I couldn't deal with the app at all, and I had to locate the store and actually make a visit, and my queries got answered. So there's still, service is a huge gap all over the world. I think in India it's much better because I have, but I travel abroad 3-4 times in a year. I have been to about 96 international cities. Wow. So in India, we really get pampered in a restaurant, in a fine dining, in any place which we go. Service is really good. But between what happens offline and online, there's definitely a gap, and people are frustrated. You can't actually voice your comments. There are a few of the government apps which I have downloaded, and you can't really use it.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Some apps work, something like the Digi Yatra works really well. That's fantastic. And I think the Air Seva, there's always an issue. You can't really lodge your complaints or even your appreciation. Why should there be only complaints or appreciation? Yesterday night, I was on a top real estate fund website, and I couldn't even put in my name in the contact form, and it kept asking me to first put my mobile number of 10 digits. Then I put the +91, then it didn't accept that. Then I put another number. Finally, I came out. So even getting a contact form ready, I'm sure you face that problem also. So I don't know who designs these contact forms. They're terrible.
They're an exam form, I would say.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But as we see, the world has changed a lot. Even in the last couple of years, it has changed. It's to a certain, it's become scary. We have seen a pandemic. We are seeing it, or in fact, witnessing 2 wars happen simultaneously in the Northern Hemisphere. We are seeing flash floods happening everywhere. Bombay was just about to be flooded again. What happened in 2005? What do you feel about it? Like, where is humanity going with this, and where is consumerism going with this?
I think we've had these problems in the past. Nature is a great leveler, and these cyclical problems definitely keep happening. So it is, you have to go back into history. The first, at least recorded pandemic was in 1920, and then every 100 years it apparently occurs. So yes, the youth are very aware of the environmental challenges. In fact, I was in New Delhi about 8 or 9 months ago, and the children are becoming, I would say, paranoid about the environment. They are forgetting their own parents, siblings and grandparents, but worrying more about the environment. We have so many beach cleaning and other things like that. But I would say first start cleaning your own house before going for a beach cleaning.
Yeah.
So let's not forget our roots and our sources of our energy, where we get our energy and who looks after us, our parents and the people around us, our siblings and stuff like that. So I think even fast fashion is got to do with it. A pair of jeans, 1600 liters of water wasted on wearing a pair of jeans. In the if you go back to about more than about 45-50 years, the concept of hotels also did not exist. And forget restaurants, I'm talking about a hotel. You always went to a friend's house, or a friend's house, bungalow in Lonavala or Khandala, or be it in Alibag and stuff. You didn't stay in a hotel. Restaurants was a very rare if you had got very good exam results. So slow cooking, slow eating, slow fashion, these are the things which we have to come back to, because if you're going to compete with this generation of FOMO of the neighbors, of Instagram, of scrolling and saying and feel jealous at the simple post of someone else, feel jealous and insecure and make yourself feel inferior, then I don't think that you should be on that media if it's making you feel like that. It should just to give you some information to glance. I don't look at any social media at all at home or in the office. It's only when I'm glancing through when I'm in the car. That's it. So again, time management, being focused on your projects and what you have to do is very important. And I would also like to quote a lovely example. Two, three intellectual people were talking about, and this family which has got two government officers, their young son at the age of 16 committed suicide, and both the parents are intellectual people. And we were discussing that this happened about 4 or 5 years ago. Why did it happen? It says it is like a jungly creeper in a village or in a forest. It is not being pampered. That child could survive. But whereas in city life, if the air conditioner is not on, or there is a water shortage or something like that, we totally panic and get troubled. So putting up with also hardships, not always having your comforts. I was on Instagram 2-3 days ago, and today people are going to meet a couple on the outskirts of Bangalore who live without electricity and who cook on solar things. The people are going to visit them. They can't believe it, that they don't have any mobile phones and stuff. So that is becoming unique. What was a part of our normal day life, people are going to observe, and people are willing to spend money to live in an environment like that. So we are actually on the cusp to come back to basics now. We are realizing that over a period of time is simple living and high thinking. Simple living, I myself have been a diabetic for the last 17 years, and having a vegetarian and vegan food, avoiding I've not had a normal or regular pizza for maybe the last 15 or 18 years. I've not had a Coke or a Thumbs Up or a Pepsi or any aerated drinks for so many years now. So just a simple food of what you put in your body makes a lot of sense.
Would you consider yourself spiritual?
Yes, definitely I would consider myself spiritual. My philosophy on spirituality is all connected with insaniyat. I consider everyone my brother and sister. Rohan, let me ask you a question. Is what is the color of your blood?
Red.
It's red, right? Mine is red, and even our friend sitting here, he's got blood. So why is this distinction, of, you come from this part of Maharashtra or this part of India, and, this is your social status and this is my social. We are just all human beings. We need each other. You've got some brilliance in you. I've got some brilliance. Let's share our views. Let me have an open mind to listen to your thoughts and views. During these elections which we had, I know couple of friends and associates who had very nasty fights on WhatsApp because they had a very strong political ideology. And I think politics and religion are very personal. They should not be discussed. And if you have got a strong ideology, I would say keep it to yourself. But insaniyat is my philosophy. You'll be surprised. Let me share with you is that when I go to, I move around Mumbai quite a lot, sometimes 2 and 3 times in a day. And when I'm alone in an elevator, I spend some few seconds or minutes just inquiring from that lift man or watchman how his family is, whether he's had his lunch or not, and whether if he's staying away from home, whether he's gone back or he's looking forward. I think just these 2-3 sentences of utterance really make me get into someone else's world, and they get into my world. Right. You asked me the question about spirituality. I just stretched it more, and insaniyat is my philosophy. And I consider not just Indians, I consider the whole world as my brothers. There's no need about these wars. There's no need for this Ukraine-Russia war, this Israel and Hamas war. There's no need. They're just killing innocent people. The people giving the orders are very safe and sound. They're buying more armaments, and some more factories are running. Some business, I'm sure, links Lawrence Mayo will never get into, anything which will harm another human being is something which we have defined, which we will not get into at all.
You mentioned off record that you were able to rescue a lot of students from Ukraine.
Yes, that's right.
How did that happen?
I'm glad you remembered. This happened, just the beginning of the pandemic, which was 2020, 23rd March, if I recollect. I was at an event in Pune, attending a Mrs. Pune organized by my friend Carl Mascarenis and Anjana Mascarenis, and it was really having a jolly good time. My wife and a couple of friends were there and sitting there, and I got a call from Sunil Uplap, who's a Corporate Connection co-member, and he was sounding distraught on the phone, and he said he had another friend who was crying bitterly. The minute I heard that word, I had to get up from the fashion show which I was going, and loud music, and I parked myself in that 5-star hotel in a corner where I could hear. And we had a conference call, and his only daughter was studying medicine in a Ukraine university. And he said, I have only one daughter, the war has started, and I have to bring her back, come what may, whatever it takes, alive. And suddenly, from the glamour and glitz of the fashion show, I got into the reality. He was talking, I think he was in Pune, and Sunil Uplab was in Thane, and I was also in Pune, and I got into his world, and I could just imagine here's this father talking. So I understood the situation, and immediately it ended in about 1.5 or 2 minutes, and sitting there I quickly wrote a message on WhatsApp to one of my key managers in Delhi, asking him to print it out, this message, and carry it to the aviation minister's house as well as office. And I put it on email and on WhatsApp. And after a day or two, I had my secretary, Mrs. Ingrid, finding me in the different parts of our head office in Fort. There was a call from the aviation minister's personal secretary had called up. And I explained to him the situation about these Indian students trapped there. And he wanted the list of the students, which university, where they were located. And I started giving the information. But it was not sharing his mobile number, because I knew he had called from the landline number. And then I persuaded him to call me up again in the evening at after 6:30, and I was gathering all this information. And then I put my wife also on the call, and she persuaded him to share his mobile number. And they kept asking, is this your daughter? So I said, no, it's not our daughter. It is someone else's daughter. But as well-wishers, we are doing it. And then suddenly we realized we were not helping one student. The numbers were just growing exponentially and reached for 40, 42. We were put in WhatsApp groups, and messages were flying left, right and center. And but the aviation minister was Jyoti Madrao Scindia. who's been a classmate of mine, and he had put a note for special assistance in all of this, and I definitely thank him and the entire secretarial team for doing it. And within, I think, about 7 or 8 days, we were able to send an Air Force plane. They were already there, and 42 students got rescued in phase 1. And then we got a gap of 2-3 days, and we thought it was over. The social work and Sunil Uplab and his friend were really very grateful. They made a video recording, and I shared it on LinkedIn also. And then subsequently, after 2 days, we realized in another university, the students had walked for about some 8 or 10 kilometers. They were beaten by the local police there. They were told to go back to their universities and hide in the basement. There was no water. There was no electricity. There were girls who needed sanitary napkins. There was shortage of food. So our students have gone really through a lot. And then my wife got really, Dr. Sohani took charge of those WhatsApp groups with the messages flying and everything. Let me recollect, and I want to acknowledge, there was a taxi driver of Indian origin who could speak the Ukraine language as well as Gujarati and in Hindi. And he was an either a Uber driver. He didn't do anything. These are the unsung heroes in the world. For anything, he was just going there, gathering the information of the students and relaying it to us. He was quite, he explained to me, because I spoke to him a number of times. In fact, I made a gigantic card and sent it to his house in Rajkot to thank him, so his family would know what a good soul he was. And I sent one to Ukraine. I don't know whether he received the card. I sent 2 cards in 2 different directions, knowing, and I spoke to him. So, and he, because his family was comfortable, he put his personal earnings aside just to save the Indian students. So good people are there in the world who don't require Padma Bhushan. I'm not saying anything to these awards or Padma Shri awards, but unsung heroes and heroines are there constantly in the world, and human beings are really good. And if you appeal to their really goodness, you can attract goodness and bring the goodness out. I had forgotten this conversation we had, and thanks for bringing it up. So 42 students first, and then I think a good 640 in the next batch. 682 students, lives, and so many thank you messages which we got. My wife especially and myself, and these are unknown students, and whether they sent us a rose or a flower or thank you message or flying kisses, and even talking to them and keeping their hopes up while their mobiles were dying in those basements. And we lost one student, unfortunately, who went out to buy some groceries when there was an absolute red alert not to step out, and he, unfortunately, it was his time to leave the world, and he thought he would return very safely to it, but he was able to, we lost him, unfortunately. So these are things which may definitely make you sad. And again comes to the bigger picture. If we have got a lot of medical universities in our country, and if getting in and the capitation fees and admission fees is not difficult, then they don't need to go to Russia to really study.
What does humanity, define in such a situation?
I think humanity, if you ask any soldier who's fought on any of the fronts, they always suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder after a war. So killing another human being, whether you're following orders or in any situation, there are sometimes, unfortunately, we have even road rage in India, predominantly more in North India than in any other parts. So there are people who keep hockey sticks and batons in their car, and if their car gets scratched, they are the easiest to smash a windscreen and lose their temper. So these people definitely require psychiatric help and calmness, and go to external people to get treated. So we know during COVID, people have now openly talked about mental disorders and mental health. and at least we have come to the forefront. Earlier, if you went to a psychiatrist or psychologist, they had to be in some building on a shady second or a third floor, and you would very secretly go in and talk to a quack. I don't know why we developed that word quack. They are all professional.
Yes.
And I think talking to someone, a third opinion, or a person who just listens to you. I myself have been to a psychiatrist and to Miss Priyal, who stays in our building, on a number of times, and it's so relieving to share your innermost thoughts and feelings, and someone to just listen. And they don't guide you with a solution, but they give you 2-3 options, and then it's your decision which option you want to make.
Yes.
So I think in the world we have to reduce the anger, bitterness, frustration, and increase our happiness quotient, which is there. And of course, a lot of governments have come out with the happiness index. And that's really good that we are working towards things like this, and realizing that is more to life just than money and a few other things.
Yeah. How important is family in this situation?
Oh, family is everything. Family is everything. I have said it when I was a young child, and maybe my innocence still continues, that if any of my sisters wanted something which I had, I would give them, and I have gone to the extent if they wanted my right hand, I would give it. So having that philosophy at a young age itself shows it's not me, it's all my mentors, my parents, my 3 sisters who have put that in. And I've seen that at birth, families come together, thread ceremony, naming ceremony, and then at puberty we have different ceremonies, and then you have engagement, marriage, and then you have graduation, and then death, or some 50th birthday or 21st birthday or some other things. Family businesses which all separate, I think they are confused and muddled. They don't know the rules and responsibilities of each one. Families who are moving to a family constitution, I think that's definitely a great idea. It could be a document, but that intent should be there to live together, work together, and things like that. And when you have a family, is like a cluster of of people of different minds and thoughts, and the families which are close knitted will do anything for each other. I have recently come across where kidneys have to be donated within the family, and the rarest of rarest people are doing it. Let me talk about Dr. T.P. Lahane also. There is a Marathi film made on him. He has done more than 2 lakh cataract operations. But his mother gave her kidney to her son. And till then he was a average doctor doing a good work as an ophthalmologist. But the minute he got a lease of second life, he realized that the Moti Bindu operations, he covered more than 2 lakh, maybe at 3.5-4 lakh operations. He was heading, he was the dean of our JJ Medical College and other things like that. So I think organ donation is a big thing, and I would like to bring up, Rohan, a project very close to our heart is a country like Sri Lanka. Being a Buddhist country, they have 100% organ corneal donation. So we are just there is a whole thing that Sri Lanka was a part of India at one time, the landmass. And because of changes in the earth plate, it has moved away. So just our neighboring country and has got such a lovely ethic.
So true. True. That's brilliant. And there's so much of learnings and insights and experiences that you have shared today. We got to know not the Dr. Vivek Mendonsa, but the Vivek Mendonsa.
Absolutely, yes.
Behind all the amazing work that is being done by the company, and on a personal level as well. Thank you so much for giving your time and sharing your stories and experiences. I think it's been a really enriching session for me and for the listeners out there as well.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. All the best. Jai Hind. Thank you.